Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Rage 2. I did get to go hands-on with it at E3 this year, but we weren't allowed to really film anything. That's why that footage you saw at the start there was about 2 seconds long. Click record, and then we hear stop recording. Brilliant. But I'm here to tell you what I think of Rage 2, or more importantly, what I played of Rage 2. Now, the thing that piqued my interest when Rage 2 was properly announced is that it is an open world game. I'm pretty sure under ZeniMax's wing, this is the first open world game not made by Bethesda Game Studios. So naturally, as someone who makes videos and content based in open world games, I'm very interested to experience Rage 2's open world. However, at E3, the demo they had did not incorporate elements of the open world gameplay. This demo focused purely on the shooting side of things. Of course, Rage 2 has been developed by Avalanche Studios, but more importantly, well, at least in terms of the shooting, id Software, the same guys that brought you Doom 2016, the game that had amazing shooting. And I can tell you, at the very least, Rage 2's shooting mechanics and feel gameplay matches Doom 2016's, or I'm even willing to say that it surpasses it. And while we only got to toy with 2 different guns, the actual feel and flow of everything felt a bit smoother than Doom. With that said, Doom 2016's combat was incredibly smooth and incredibly fun, and it felt incredibly natural, and Rage 2 has delivered on that front 100%. So if you were concerned or wondering about how Rage 2 would play in the shooting department, it's spot on. They got it. Again, if you've played Doom 2016, it's like that, except I think a little bit better. And the thing that makes the whole combat experience, not necessarily the shooting better, but the whole combat experience as a whole, is the abilities we get. I love having some extra abilities up your sleeve when it comes to video games. Like you play Star Wars, you get the Force. When you play Skyrim, you get the shouts. You get this third or extra element into the combat style, and in Rage 2 we get these abilities. I don't actually know what they're called, and I'm not going to look it up, because the important thing is that it's fun and it works. From memory, there was a quick dash ability, there was a force push kind of ability, there was one that was kind of a jump up into the air and do a power slam fist on the ground and knock all the enemies away, and there was a fourth one that I can't remember. And the reason I can't remember it is because I didn't use it. And the reason I didn't use it was, at any given time there are 4 abilities you can have slotted, and there are 4 different button combinations on the controller or keyboard that will initiate any of those 4 abilities you have slotted. And that particular controller I wasn't familiar with, so when it was saying hold down A and click down the thumbstick and click the second left L thing, I was like, I didn't know what those commands were, so I kind of used the abilities that I could figure out how to use. The one I used most was the force push one, and that was really cool. But the point I'm trying to make is that we have these extra abilities that brings an extra element to combat. Like in the Dishonored series, you have the general combat like the sword and guns and things like that, but you have these supernatural abilities that gives you an extra element and fun factor when it comes to combat and gameplay. And these abilities in Rage 2 are exactly that. But the thing I really like about it is you can have 4 active at once, meaning you don't have to use one, then go to a menu screen to select the other one you want to use. You can have 4 up at once, and then you use different button combinations or key combinations on a keyboard to trigger any of those 4 abilities that you have slotted. There will be many more than 4 abilities available to you, but you can slot 4 of your choice. So I like that it takes the whole going back to a menu to change abilities out of the picture a lot more, with the fact that you can have 4 slotted at once. So going back to my original point at the start, the shooting is on point, but this extra ability thing really fits in and it flows very smoothly and naturally with the rest of the gun combat, and it just brings that extra element to the combat experience. That's why I think that Rage 2's combat as a whole is on a level above Doom 2016's. As mentioned at the start of the video, the thing I'm super interested in is the open world element. Sadly, we didn't get to explore that at all, so I really can't comment on it because we just simply didn't get to play it. Now, on top of guns and the abilities, we have different types of grenades. There's a lot of different types of grenades. Not that I didn't get to use any, but I didn't use them. As in, if they were there and available for me to use in the demo, I didn't use them. It was probably like a 5-10 minute demo, and it was very like, I walked in, I'm like, hey, how you guys going? They're like, get in there now, because we're on a tight schedule. I was like, oh damn. So I kind of jumped in, did it, and got out and it was all a blur. But in the gameplay footage that you are seeing on screen now that's provided by Bethesda, you'll see a number of different grenades being used. Then we have the wing stick on top of that, and then after, I'm actually not sure how it's charged up, but there is a bar. Once it's charged up, you can use it and you'll do like, I actually don't know what it does, but everything goes crazy colors for about 10-20 seconds on screen. And I did notice that enemies were dying faster when I activated this. I assume it's some like rage mode that you get to go into for, again, 10-20 seconds. I don't know if it makes you do double damage, I don't know if it makes you shoot faster, but it does make the enemies die faster for some reason, so it will be something along those lines. And in terms of movement, I mean, you've got running normally, you've got sprinting, you've got crouching, you have jumping, you also have sprint crouching, which makes you do like a slide, so you can slide to cover pretty quickly. So all these things come together. We've got really smooth movement, we have perfect gunplay mechanics, then we have these abilities on top of that, giving us an extra element, a very unique element to the combat styles. We have the wing stick, we've got the different grenades, we've got the super rage mode, do more damage ability. All in all, if you were worried about the combat, don't be worried. They have this covered. Even if the open world element of this game sucks, which I have no idea if it does, the shooting side of it is going to be very, very enjoyable. I would have loved about an hour with it so I could really get a feel for using the abilities naturally instead of me having to stop and kind of think about, wait, was it A and B and left stick, or was it the right stick with the Y? That was the main problem that kind of took me out of the enjoyment of the combat a bit, was just not having the button commands on the controller memorized, because, I mean, now there's no reason that I would have them memorized. So I think about an hour or so more gameplay, I really would have had a feel for it in a really natural flow, and it would have felt really good. But I think the most important part of all of these different combat elements is when they all mesh, when they all come together. And do they? Yes, they do. So you're not playing like, alright, I'm gonna shoot someone, now I'm gonna grenade someone, alright, now it's ability time. You can kind of flow all these different moves and combat styles into this seamless flow and almost combo of different combat abilities. So you can do a slide into someone, melee their head, blow their head off with the butt of your gun, then force push their corpse into another enemy, knock them over. You can do a gravity grenade, sucking everyone together, then force push them off a building. You can throw a grenade, then jump above it and get an extra jumped boost from the blast, and then have an aerial, I suppose, view of the battlefield, shooting raining bullets down upon your foes. And of course there are numerous different types of guns. You can upgrade the guns so they do different things. We've got the different abilities, different grenades. We've got the wing stick. When all of these things come together, you have a really cool way of it's like you got a lot of different colors to paint with, and the battlefield is your canvas. And all of those colors are red because it will be painted with your enemy's blood. The best way to describe it is like Doom on mushrooms, or insert your favorite hallucinogenic. It really takes that solid grounding of Doom 2016 and just adds all these different flavors and colors to it, all of which can be sewn together into a fabric of your choice. But that's just about all I can say about Rage 2 and its demo at E3 this year. Wish I got to play more, and I really wish that we got to experience the open world element of it. I'm very intrigued and interested by this. But I'm sure we will see more Rage 2 demos in the coming future. We've got QuakeCon coming up, there's Gamescom, there's PAX Oz at the very least. I'm not too sure what the PAX schedules for the USA are, but there are a number of conventions and gaming things coming up where we should get to see more Rage 2 gameplay or hands-on demos. And hopefully we get to explore the open world. But what I can take away from playing it at E3 2018 is the gun mechanics and combat and movement, and the shooter side of Rage 2 is on point. They have nailed it. Would love to have had some more time with it just to get a flow with the buttons, where I could have natural memory reflexes to do certain abilities rather than having to think really hard for a few seconds while everyone's shooting me. So if you were there and you did get to play it, please comment and let me know, and everyone else, what you thought of it, because I'm interested to hear what you thought of it, because I haven't really spoken to anyone else that actually played it. Of course, being media at E3, I got to go to the media room and play it there, and even then, getting a 10-minute slot in that media room across 3 days was very, very difficult. And at the convention for the public, there was a big line to play Rage 2, so I haven't spoken to anyone else that's got their hands on Rage 2. So if you did, I'm very interested in hearing from you. And if you didn't, be sure to let me know what you're excited about in Rage 2 and what you think of what you've seen so far and heard so far. I've been Camel, and I will see you very shortly in the next video. Be sure to hit up all my social medias, links to them can be found down in the description, and I'll see you soon in the next video.